So it's Jeremiah 31 and 35. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance is of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, that divideth the sea when when the waves thereof roar, and the Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Lord, then will the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever." Right? So the Lord basically said, look, it's the only way Israel ain't gonna be his chosen is if the sun, moon, and stars basically cease from being. That shows you how solidified our allotment of being the sons of the Heavenly Father is. Okay? That's why it's good to precept with that Hosea the first chapter, where it tells you that the Most High said that, speaks of Lo Ami. He basically says, "You'll not be my people no more," right? But it says as as the sand is, um, as the multitude of sand is before me, so shall Israel be, right? And they'll never basically cease from being his people, right? So that's the same thing being said. So verse 37, it says, "Thus saith the Lord, if heaven above can be measured, and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast out all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith the Lord." Right? And that can't be done, right? You can't measure the depths of the sea. Because there's places where you try to go down there, the pressure from that depth is too dense, right? That you wouldn't be able to survive down there. You can't send no camera down there or no machine to measure out the land, basically, the seas, okay? But guess what? We'll be able to do that, right? Because the Lord's gonna give us some different kind of bodies, okay? But that's how. But the fact that Esau is basically trying to measure out the sun, space, and all these things shows you that he's trying to acquire our blessing, man, and trying to rub us out. So this is Psalms 50 and 17 now. So it says, "Seeing thou hatest instruction and castest my words behind thee." Alright? A key time where he cast his words behind was going back to the time when dealing with, actually even better than that, the best time is Esau, man. Esau was told not to mess with the Canaanite women, but what was he doing? He was all up in them, man. Because he was trying to get his color back. Right? Let me read this precept. Actually, let me read on. So it says, "When thou sawest a thief, then thou contendest with him, and hast been partaker with adulterers. Thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue framest deceit. Thou sittest and speakest against thy brother. Thou slanderest thine own mother's son. Alright? So basically that's dealing with the time of Babylon, right? And Esau did this, right? What did Esau do? During that time in Babylon, he basically, when we were going to be put into the Babylonian captivity, he basically was rounding up all the Israelites, are basically, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, because it was the kingdom of Judah at that time. He basically rounded them all up, cut them off in a way, alright? And then what they also did is they came in and they had a part to play as well in the destruction of Israel, okay? Because it tells you in the book of, I believe it's in the book of Esdras, where it basically talks about them coming in and burning the temple and them stealing as well some of our possessions, basically. So Esau's always in a cut, looking for an opportunity to get one over on us, alright? So anyway, another point to make is dealing with this blue moon, alright? Right now we're in the midst of a blue moon, right? And it's a heavy spiritual event, because what you gotta remember with a blue moon, I said it before, is basically where a full moon appears twice within a calendar month, right? So this is the second appearing of a full moon within this calendar month, right? Which I believe that's the correct way to say it. But anyway, in saying that, this has happened on the day of October 31st. Let's take in some of the events that have taken place today. Again, you had Boris Johnson basically come out and say they're going into lockdown part 2, alright? And this is just my personal opinion. In my personal opinion, lockdown 2, what that means is they're saying the reason why they need to do this now is so that everyone can basically celebrate Christmas together. They're trying to curb the amount of infections that are getting passed around in this time. Trying to curb all of that, basically, alright? But, hey, as was with the lockdown when it happened before, the getting back to some form of normality in terms of opening up restaurants and all that stuff back to normal, it took a long time, right? Because they're saying that, hey, dealing with the UK, we had the longest time, the greatest effect on our economy, the greatest effect on the UK economy, alright, down to what? Down to the fact that the lockdown lasts for so long, right? So in my mind, my personal opinion, I don't see no way that this is going to get back to normal in 4 weeks, basically. They're saying December 2nd. I don't see that happening, alright? But it can happen, I don't know. But I just see it that, like, getting into a worse form of things, alright? Because, they're saying the infection rate's going up. And the weather's going to get worse as well. And let's not forget about the flu season that's looming, right? These are all things that are playing into the point of the pandemic, right? But in saying that, they also said they're not going to have the vaccine till the new year, right? Those are other points that are playing into it. So all that's happening right now is a thing known as gradualism, right? Which I'm going to get into that after this dealing with the moon thing, because again, I was going into how these guys are basically messing with, they're dealing with demonology, left-hand side energy, different forms of witchcraft, okay, which they tap into, and that's what they're doing right now. And you even got when King Saul went to the witch from Endor. She basically when she was like in her when she was zoning out, you know, getting into a demonic bag, so to speak. She basically said she saw spirits going up and down, right? So she could basically see into the fourth dimension where she could see like different spirits coming forth, and then she said she saw one spirit that was an old man, and he said, "Oh, that must be Samuel," right? So basically, look, the reason why I mention that is because they have the ability to see these things, okay? And these kind of the moon has an effect on the earth, right? It gives out a certain vibration. That's why you have a lot of pregnancies happen during the time of the full moon. That's why you have the water movement happening, storms and whatnot. It's down to the moon, has an effect on the people. And if it has an effect on the people, that's why the word lunatic exists, because it comes from lunar, which means moon, right? Because it turns people lunatic. So when this being October 31st and being the second, a blue moon on this day as well, they're really going to be pushing forward heavy vibrations of on the left hand side. And that's why I said the whole thing where I don't think the lockdown's basically going to last a month, alright? Because that's why they made it known today, because there's a vibration that's going out on the people, alright? That whatever spell they're casting on the people, they're basically gonna it's gonna go forward, and they hope to accomplish it, alright? That spell.